Hello grade 5, welcome to another art class. Before I start, I would like to share a Bible verse with you. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way, I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the sixth day, they are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days. Exodus chapter 16, verse 4 to 5. Now we know the setting of this Bible verse is when the Israelites were going towards promised land and they were stuck in the desert. But even that long ago, God gave them very, very clear instruction on what to do, just like your teacher's doing. But what God wanted for them to learn from this is to trust God one day at a time. Remember what happened if they try to keep the manna for more than one day? It goes moldy and it goes yucky. So, just like now, God is testing us and teaching us to look at Him one day at a time. So, keep at it, grade 5. Well, thank you for those that have handed in your art reach and filled out the art survey. So I only have about 40 results that people have responded. So if you haven't done it, please fill it out. It takes like 5 minutes. So also, some of you might have gotten the notice from your homeroom teacher to pick up some art materials from school. So if you have them, like if you have watercolor and paintbrushes at home, you don't have to bring it. But if you don't, I'm giving you the materials that you need for our next project. It won't be for this one. If we continue to be teaching online, then we'll be doing some watercolor. But if not, we'll come back and do watercolor as well. So the next unit, we are doing something called typeface. What is a typeface? If you look at all the different fonts right now, they are all different. There might be some that's cursive. There is some that's childlike, authoritative. So these are all different types of fonts or typeface people have created. So what is a typeface? If you think about typeface, it is like the title of a book. It's like the main idea for the font that we know of. And fonts are little different chapters that have a slight different variation of a typeface. Now, why is typeface important? Well, first of all, they are words. Words convey a message on its own. But the style of the typeface can also say something. It can have a visual inflection. That means it can give you an impression or a feeling, like tone. Like if you look at the word teacup here, it's fluffy, it's pink, and you can sort of, think about some little girls sitting playing with their teacup set because of the color and the bold lines and the soft edges of that font. Now look at twigs. Now twigs. Oh yes, remember the caramel and the cookies and the chocolate is bold. It is like, I am in your face chocolate. So if you look at the font, it's very harsh. It has a lot of sharp angle and diagonal line that tells you, I am here. So typeface can persuade you for an emotion, and it can evoke to help us make choices. Say if you're tired and like, oh man, I just need some like protein, like peanut, you might get a Snickers. But you're like, ooh, I want something fun and bold, I might think about twigs because by looking at the fonts. Let's look at another company that use different types of typeface. Coca-Cola. Who has not had Coca-Cola before? Probably all of us have had Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has been around since 1886. Now, how did they come up with the word Coca-Cola? Actually, it was written by an accountant that worked at Coca-Cola. I don't think they even called it Coca-Cola, but they just liked the way the C looked together. So they kind of made up that name by the accountant, And it was because of the way he wrote the C. You can see at first it was a very typical, like, I am here, I am secure, I am strong, Coca-Cola, because the font is very straight and is very square-ish and nothing fancy. And then they started to add the twirls to it to make it more fun. It's a fun drink. And then they started adding colors. You'd see that in under 1985, they actually changed the font to be more bold. Like you see how the letter itself is bigger to establish, like, I am here. While the other ones are more fun because it's more cursive and more flowy. So each, as the logo developed, the font changed because they changed to meet the customer's needs, to what do they want to do. So if you look at the very last one, 2016, they wanted to convey the message, taste the feeling through the logo. So now that we have some idea about what logo or typeface does to you, as you walk around or read a book, notice and pay attention to the typeface and see if it's like, oh, if I just look at this word by itself, it actually gives me a certain type of message. So pay attention to that. If you go out, look at different types of brand, or even looking at your t-shirts and see a girl's t-shirt's writing versus a boy's t-shirt's writing, and see if that typeface is different. So we are learning to follow the process of creating a typeface for this assignment and to make a collection of typefaces. What I'm looking for is how typeface convey a message and a variety of typefaces. So watch the video. There's going to be 3 tasks for you to do. 1, you have to watch a little short video about typefaces. Next, you are going to add 3 different fonts to your Google Docs and then type it with a Bible verse. Third, you are going to write by hand, create some typeface on your own. So watch the video. Welcome to your third part of this week's assignment. The first one was to watch the video. Second one is to create or add your own typeface or font into your Google Doc. Write a Bible verse with those fonts, then send them to me. Thirdly, you are going to create your own font by writing. We are going to do 7 letters. We're going to start off with A. I'm going to have O, G, P, Q, D, and B. So 7 letters. What you're going to do is you're going to start off with A. If you look at all these letters, they all have a circle in them. That's why it is a good foundation for you to create your typeface. Now we are going to start with A. Now what I'm looking for is a 10 A in different style. So I'm gonna try it. Now you have seen A. Normally we write A like this, but if you look at some types, they actually have it this way. I have actually 12 type or design of typeface. Now you're going to select 5 or 1 that you like, and you're going to try to replicate it. That means you're going to try to write it the same way. Now you notice that I use pencil and I also use a pen. You can also try using a marker because marker is much thicker. Now let's see. Oh, there's quite a few that I like, but I am noticing that if I keep the tail here short, it looks like a D. Like this one and this one really looks like a D. I actually really like this one. So I am going to try to replicate it. That means repeat it 5 times and see if I can do it. And see if I have other little variety by keeping this style. So I'm just gonna give myself a little underline for this one. That's the one I like. I'm going to try to replicate it. I'm going to try to use a pen again. All right, so I've did 5 here. That is the same sort of style. I have adjusted the curvature of that vertical line, and I've also played with the distance of the double line for the circle part. So now look at that. Do I have a favorite one? Does it look like an A anymore? I also played with the angle of the top line. So I really like this one. So that's the style that I really like. So now I'm going to move on to all the other letters just like before. So 10 O's, then 5 that you really like, and then 10 G, 5 of repeat, 10P, 10Q, 10D, 10B. So all together, you're going to have 15 letters for each category. And so 15 times 7 would be, you do the math, I think it's about 105. And then once you're completed with this, take a picture of it and hand it in through either your Google Classroom or PowerSchool art folder. If you have any question, please feel free to give me a call or email. Thank you.